If you've got a 401k, an IRA, or a pension plan, I've got some really bad news for you. The IRS wants you to think that the so-called qualified plans are the best ways to save money for retirement. They induce you to max out your plans by giving you tax breaks right now and allow your money to grow tax-free over the years. Sounds pretty good, right? Wrong. The fact is that putting your money in a 401k or IRA is almost the worst thing you could do for your retirement, because you are going to be taxed out of your gourd when you finally retire and need the money the most. Then when you do die, guess what? The IRS will hit you with the double whammy. They'll tax your estate when you die, then they'll tax whatever's left again when it's inherited by your heirs. And on top of the tax problems, you'll also have to deal with market volatility that can kill your portfolio. Just think about 2001 and 2008. What if there was a way to avoid tax burdens and retirement, avoid portfolio killing down years in the market, and virtually eliminate any worries you may have about outliving your money during retirement? On this video, I want to show you an IRS-approved class of tax-friendly retirement saving vehicles that will beat the pants off your IRA, 401k, or your pension plan. They've been around for years and are offered by the oldest, largest, and most financially stable institutions in the world, and allow your money to grow tax-free just like your current qualified plan, but at zero taxes when the money is dispensed at retirement. Think about that for a minute. Zero taxes on your estate when you die, and zero taxes when the money is transferred to your heirs at death. Listen to that one more time. Zero taxes as your money grows, zero taxes when the money is distributed, and zero taxes on your estate when you die, and zero taxes on the money inherited by your family. Zero. And here's the best part. Unlike your qualified plan, there is no risk that you'll lose principal on the investment during a down market. If the market tanks like it did in 2008, your worst case scenario is no gain, but no loss either. What I'm talking about is a retirement savings vehicle that will help make sure you don't outlive your money during retirement. Are you intrigued? Well, you should be. I want to take a few minutes right now to share with you an important message about the best retirement savings vehicle you've never heard of. Let's start by talking about the IRS. They desperately want you to think that an IRA is the best way to grow your money for retirement. You know what? It's not even close. I'm talking about what the IRS calls qualified plans. IRAs, 401ks, pension plans, and so forth. Compared to traditional brokerage accounts where you normally buy stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, these plans have some really good tax advantages. First, you can invest in a qualified plan with before-tax dollars. Number two, you don't have to pay taxes on the gains every year like you do on regular stocks and mutual funds, so your money grows tax-deferred. It's not taxed until you take the money out when you finally retire. That means you have some more money working for you during those years leading up to retirement. Sounds pretty good, right? Well, yeah, compared to a regular brokerage account, sure. But that's like saying a bicycle is the best mode of transportation going. Of course, a bike beats the heck out of walking, especially if you're trying to travel outside of your immediate neighborhood. But what if you're trying to travel across town or clear across the country? You might want to try a car. And if you're trying to get overseas, walking's out of the question. And that bicycle is pretty much worthless. You'd be better off in a jet plane. So just to make sure you're following my analogy, a regular brokerage account is like walking. Lots of tax problems. A qualified plan is like a bicycle or maybe even a beat-up old car. Better than walking, but not super helpful on extra long trips, like say, retirement. What I'm going to show you on this video is like having your very own top-of-the-line private jet fully fueled and ready to go with your own personal pilot. Yeah, it's that much better. The key to really maximizing your retirement savings is to understand the difference between tax-deferred and tax-free. Under the IRS's qualified plans that you probably have right now, your money is growing tax-deferred, which inherently means that it will be taxed at some point in the future. Guess when that point is? That's right, when you retire and need the money the most. You probably won't be working, tax rates will probably even be higher than they are now, and you won't have any IRS-friendly deductions for kids or mortgage interest if your house is paid off, which means that you'll be paying a huge percentage of what you take out of the IRS in taxes, which of course reduces the amount that you have to spend for living expenses and lifestyle. Let's talk about the so-called jet plane of retirement savings vehicle. You know, the one that beats the pants off a regular brokerage account or qualified plan, Before I tell you exactly what it is, let me show you some of the major advantages it holds. First, tax-free accumulation. Just like a qualified plan and way better than a brokerage account, your money grows year after year without having to pay taxes on the annual gains. Compound interest can then work its magic, which allows your money to grow bigger and faster. We don't need to have a discussion about compound interest, do we? If you're not familiar, just go to Google and type "the greatest miracle of growing money ever known to mankind" and find out about the greatness of compound interest. Second, tax-free distribution. Here is where your current qualified plan starts to look really bad. When you hop on board the jet plane of retirement savings vehicle, your money not only grows tax-free, but you can also distribute the money at retirement tax-free. That means that on the same $100,000 distribution I just talked about, you keep all of it, regardless of the then current tax rate. 30% tax rate, you won't care. You'll pay no taxes. 40 or 50% tax rate, let everyone else worry about that. Your retirement savings can be used tax-free. $100,000 means $100,000 to spend, not $67,000 or less. Which do you prefer? Third, tax-free transfer. With a qualified plan or with a regular brokerage account, your money will likely be taxed twice when you pass away. Once on the amount left in the account when you die, and then again when your heirs receive the leftovers as income. Great for the IRS, horrible for your estate. The jet plane of retirement savings vehicle lands smoothly here too. No death taxes, no inheritance taxes. If you've got $1 million in your account when you die, your heirs get the full $1 million. Uncle Sam? Nothing. 4. No risk of loss of principal. Remember when the stock market lost over half its value in less than 18 months starting in October 2007? Of course you do, because your portfolio probably lost half its value or more during that same time too. Did you start having nightmares about being 82 years old and still working part-time at Walmart just to keep food on the table? Your qualified plan has no way to protect you from that kind of market volatility and downside losses. Ouch! Not true with the jet plane of retirement savings vehicles. The principal in the account never loses altitude. When structured properly, there is no chance it will lose any principal. Not a dime, not a penny, nothing. If you'd been on board with this in October 2007, your portfolio would probably look a whole lot prettier right now. I'll explain why and how in just a minute. Just because you've never heard of this before doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Doesn't mean that hundreds of thousands of people aren't already using it. And it doesn't mean that all of the advantages that I've talked about aren't absolutely real and sitting there just waiting for you. Okay, so let me go ahead and draw back the curtain and show you what the jet plane of retirement savings vehicle is. Just do me a favor and hear me out, because I'm going to admit it right now, right up front, that it might sound a little, boring right at first. That's because it's a life insurance product called Index Universal Life Contract, or IUL for short. Stick with me. Don't be fooled by any stereotypes of what you might think an IUL is. This is different than any kind of whole life or variable life or universal life plan that you may have heard about or purchased in the past. The fact is, IUL is a lot more about savings than it is about life insurance, although it does a nice job of providing that too. Hopefully, the tax advantages and principal protection advantages I've told you about are clear enough and big enough to keep you interested. But you also need to know that the IUL, when structured and funded properly, beats the pants off any other kind of retirement savings plan in every comparison category that matters, including growth potential, risk avoidance, liquidity of funds, flexibility of contributions, flexibility of distributions, longevity of distributions, and fees, and everything. The IUL Indexed Universal Life gets its name because it's indexed to the S&P 500, which simply means that it mirrors the growth of the S&P 500, which, for your information, has returned over 9% a year on average for the last 27 years, even with all the crummy years in the 1980s, right after 9/11, and 2007 and 8. Remember that. But here's the best part, and what makes an IUL so darn attractive as a retirement savings vehicle. The reason IUL accounts, when structured properly, won't lose principal is because the lowest return guaranteed by the contract is 0%. or in technical speak, they have a floor return of 0%. They can't lose money. If the stock market tanks for the year, your IUL contract doesn't take a big hit. It just stays even right where it is. Stated differently, an IUL locks in the gains during the up years, but it doesn't participate in the down years. Take that, IRA. You can't even come close to competing with that. Everyone knows that portfolio losses are killers because you have to double up just to get back to even. You eliminate that risk with the IUL since the floor is 0% annual growth. No loss of principal. Compare that to the devastating 37.2% loss of the S&P 500 in 2008. But I think it's safe to say the market is going to have up years and down years. Protecting yourself from huge losses is one of the primary advantages of the IUL. It's impossible for me to overstate how superior the IUL is compared to your qualified plan. It's not even close. We've already covered the tax advantages. They're clear and evident. The risk avoidance issue is huge, and it favors the IUL by a country mile. But also remember, indexed universal life is also, life insurance. Here's what that means. If you die the day after you fund an IUL policy or any time thereafter, your heirs will receive a death benefit tax-free. The amount of the benefit depends on the size and structure of your policy. But think about your qualified plan and brokerage accounts for just a minute. How much do they pay in death benefits if you were to die early? Oh yeah, none. Because they're not insurance. Are you starting to see what I mean by the best retirement vehicle you've never heard of? Hey, that reminds me. Let's talk a little bit more about why you've probably never heard of an IUL before. I already told you that one of the main reasons was that stodgy old insurance companies have horrific communication skills. But there actually is a bigger reason, which is financial advisors almost never talk about IUL. Why is that? Simple math. Only licensed insurance agents can legally sell you an IUL, and most licensed money managers and brokers are not licensed to sell insurance. In other words, the guy who sells you an IRA can't by law sell you an indexed universal life policy. And if he can't sell it, he can't make money on it. End of story. Your financial planner's motivation is to get you to sign up for an IRA or 401k and make money on you for life as your investment grows. They don't care about your future tax burden. Why should they? Seriously, call your investment advisor on the phone right now and ask about an IUL. Chances are 99% he or she has never even heard of it. And if they have zero working knowledge of how or why it works. How would they know? They don't know insurance products. They like to think they have a corner on the market of helping people save enough money to retire, but they don't. They're selling skateboards, bicycles, roller skates, and pretending like the big shiny private jet doesn't even exist. The fact is, the IUL is the best possible wealth accumulation vehicle for your retirement for most people. And in most situations, it simply cannot be beat for tax advantages, safety, growth potential, liquidity, and flexibility. All right, just one more topic, and then we'll let your licensed insurance professional take over and discuss all the fine point details as they relate to your specific situation. And that topic is the logistics of how the IUL works. It works like a life insurance policy in the sense that you make a monthly or annual contribution in your account. You work with your advisor to determine what the optimal amount is for your situation. It'll vary depending on how many years you have left until retirement, your financial goals for retirement, and your current financial ability. The money you contribute to an IUL, like we've discussed at length, will continue to grow tax-free. Unlike a qualified plan, you have access to your money anytime you want or need it without penalty, before or after you retire. That's what's called flexibility. When you do pass away, the balance of the account will be passed on to your heirs tax-free, just like with any other life insurance policy. The IUL really does offer the absolute best of all possible scenarios. It's tax-friendly, it's safer than safe, and it gives you flexible access to your money. The next step is yours. You simply need to meet with a licensed insurance professional who gave you this video and discuss your particular situation. He or she will answer all of your questions. I'm sure you have several, and discuss all of your options. You may want to consider watching this video again, this time with a pen and paper handy to jot down any notes and questions you may have. Like anything else worthwhile, There are plenty of details to be covered, and there is a bit of a learning curve. But whatever you do, don't do nothing. There's too much at stake. Don't fall prey to what I call the law of diminishing intent. You may know what I mean. You intend to make the call and learn more, but you get overwhelmed with the 1,000 little emergencies of life, and you look up and a few months or even years have passed and you haven't done anything. So, take one action right now. Set an appointment to meet with the insurance professional who gave you this video. That's it. Do that one thing right now and take a closer look at the jet plane of retirement savings vehicle, Index Universal Life. You'll be glad you did.